Three pros I have with the Position USA R1 Midnight weightlifting shoes is number one, they've made the toe box slightly wider in this model, so it's very accommodating for full toe splay. There's enough wiggle room up here, even for I think wider feet individuals. So it's a good shoe, I think, for the masses when it comes to allowing you to splay the toes. Now, is it the widest toe box I've ever tried? No, but I think they did a really good job at widening the toe box in this model specifically for toe splay accommodation. My second pro is the heel height. This heel height is a little bit lower than your traditional weightlifting shoe. It sits at about 0.5 inches. So the traditional shoe sits about 0.75. Does it matter that much? Well, yes and no, and it really comes down to how you squat. I personally squat more low bar because I compete in powerlifting, so having a lower heel for me feels a lot more comfortable, especially since I am a very hip dominant squatter. So I'm a big fan of the lower heel height. I think it's a little bit easier also for just recreational lifters to rock and gain the stability with the heel, but also not jack up their heel too much to shift their mechanics in their squat that they might have already built using a flatter outsole shoe or let's say a cross trainer. My third pro with this model is just their overall comfort and performance. I'm a big fan of the lower heel height, as I've already mentioned. I think it's very comfortable to wear for longer duration workouts, and I have to say I am a sucker for a wooden heel, which these shoes offer. So if you're a fan of wood heels and the support they provide under heavy weight, then I really think you're gonna like this model. Two potential cons I could see folks having with this model is number one, it is a suede leather shoe out here on the outer construction, so it is a little bit heavier. That being said, your foot's probably gonna get a little bit hotter in this model compared to your more lightweight synthetic material weightlifting shoes out there that have a little bit more of that breathability aspect. So if that's something that turns you off, then that might be worth considering for the shoe. I didn't see it to be that big of a deal, but the suede leather is a little bit hot compared to some of your more synthetic materials out there. My second potential con I could see folks having, and this isn't the biggest deal, but it does take a little bit longer to break in. This shoe is extremely comfortable, but if you notice up here, that wooden outsole is not the most accommodating for a lot of reactivity up here in the toe box. You're definitely gonna have to wear this consistently to break it in, which again, isn't the biggest deal, but it is worth considering, especially when getting a new pair. Don't expect them to fit like a glove and break in right away. You're gonna have to wear them a few times before doing so. For the Position USA R1 Midnight weightlifting shoes, you can expect to pay around $199. Now, if you look at other big brand shoes out there, especially the ones that are brand new to the market, you'll see that all the shoes come out to about $199. So I can't really say the shoe is expensive compared to its peers. Now, if you like a wooden heel and a lower heel, then I think this price is extremely justified. However, if you're looking for a more cost-efficient model, then you can look at older pairs of weightlifting shoes and find that. So you're not gonna probably find that with this model, but again, I think the shoe is pretty proprietary for what it offers, and the $199 can be justified. So now, how do these shoes perform in the gym? Let's talk about them in two different respects. I'm gonna talk about them with more of a powerlifting aspect and then more of a weightlifting aspect. From a powerlifting aspect and just supporting your overall compound, so let's say the squat, overhead press, and so forth, if you like to wear lifters for that movement, they were pretty solid. I am a big fan of the lower heel height. I think it's gonna work for a lot of different athletes with how they squat, and I think it kind of meets that middle ground between being a beginner and never wearing a pair of lifters and then starting to wear lifters. 0.5 inches isn't the highest amount, so you're not gonna have to shift your form too much to accommodate for the new kind of mechanics you're gonna have at the ankle with the added stability of the shoe. But also, it's a great model, I think, just for accommodating for multiple types of squat styles. You don't have to change up too much to really acclimate to these shoes. Plus, the wooden heel is incredibly supportive and stable. I never noticed any issues with deviation on the lateral or medial side. Now, when it comes to weightlifting movements, I personally prefer a slightly higher heel, so I would recommend looking at other Position USA models that do offer a higher heel if you do like doing weightlifting more often and have that higher heel for that matter. But these can work for weightlifting, no doubt. Again, it really comes down to what you want in your heel's height. The heel is plenty stable. These shoes are very accommodating for full toe splay, so you never have to really worry about being limited up here in the toe box, and the midfoot strap is very secure. So whether you're doing more powerlifting focused movements or weightlifting style movements, this shoe can work for both. It's incredibly stable, it's comfortable, and it accommodates for toe splay. In my opinion, the main question you should ask yourself, knowing that the shoe performs pretty well across the board, is what kind of heel height you prefer. If you want a lower heel, opt for the R1 Midnight. If you want a higher heel, then it might be worth looking into some of other Position USA's models. All right, so now let's talk about the size and fit of the Position USA R1 Midnight weightlifting shoes. This is a size 10 model. In all of our lifting shoe videos, I wear size 10. So now let's see how this shoe fits. And note, I do have on a little bit of a thicker sock here with the BarBend sock. So let's put it on, lace it all the way up here. Personally, I'm not a big fan of using this back eyelet for lace lock, so I'm not going to do so in this video. I'm just gonna lace it up normally, double knot the pair, and then I'll strap up, and I'll pull that strap fully tight to show y'all how this shoe looks when it's fully tight on the foot. So now that the shoe is fully tight, as you can see, the strap isn't having any overlay to the ground, which is a good sign just for durability of the strap itself. Up here on the toe, I have about like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, so it fits pretty true to size in terms of length. However, I am trying to splay my toes and I don't feel limited by any means, but I could see somebody having an issue, especially when lacing the shoe fully tight, up here on the lateral side of the pinky toe. I think you might need to go up a 1/2 size if you're worried about having a little bit of a limitation up here in the toe box. But if you are pretty true to size with a lot of the shoes you wear, then I think you should be safe going true to size in this model. All right, so now let's talk about the construction of the Position USA R1 Midnight weightlifting shoes. Up here on the toe, we have a thicker outsole layer that comes up. Now, normally, I think lips can be problematic, but since these shoes are not gonna be used for toe dragging movements, I think you should be pretty safe with the durability. Plus, as you can see, the outsole layer is pretty thick here, and the stitching is pretty heavy throughout. I haven't noticed any issues with lipping. However, that is something I would be mindful of when wearing this, so do not drag your toes when wearing the shoe. That's just a good thing to do all the time though. So making our way to the midfoot, we have a suede leather outer for the whole shoe here. As you can see, we have it on the medial and lateral side. Stitching is double throughout the midfoot here and up here in the toe box. That's a good sign for durability. We have 5 eyelets that run up with the 6 back here for lace lock. And we have this thick middle strap with the Position USA branding, and it has some pretty thick Velcro on it. So I don't think there's gonna be any issues with security with this strap by any means. So pulling that apart, making our way to the tongue. It is a mesh tongue. It's a little bit more breathable. It's a little bit more accommodating. That is a nice touch on Position USA's part for making this shoe breathable, since the outer is that full big suede leather and it's a little bit heavier. Making our way back here to the heel. The heel isn't incredibly high, which is great because I think it has like a good balance of providing support, but also not feeling suffocating on the ankle, like right under that malleolus on the lateral medial side. Back here, we have a strap to pull on the shoe itself. That's a nice touch because when the shoe does get a little bit hotter and sweatier, it can be a little bit troublesome to get on if you don't unlace it all the way. So having a strap back here to help pull that shoe on is a very nice touch, and I think it's a good move by Position USA. Making our way to the insole, Position branding in here. It's pretty comfortable, and I think that's what makes this shoe pretty comfortable right out the bat, even though it does take a little bit longer to break in. Because if we look down here at the midsole, we have a full wooden midsole here, and again, the effective heel height back here is 0.5 inches. And when we make our way up here to the toe box, that wooden concave here pretty much goes up to about right where the balls of the feet are, and almost goes up all the way through the toes. So it isn't the most flexible and accommodating when first breaking in. So I think that cushion insole in here does a good job at accommodating for just the overall comfort while you're breaking it in. And I think once you really do break these in, you're gonna like how they feel. Making our way to the outsole, pretty clean outsole out here. It has a varied texture, a little bit of a rigid bumps throughout. It's pretty grippy on multiple surfaces. Now, one thing I will note with this type of outsole is I would not, again, drag the feet and try to scuff them. I think that could wear down some of these grips here, so that could be problematic down the road. But from an overview and more of a macro point of view, they are very grippy on multiple surfaces. So whether you're on a platform, I think these are pretty great, or on the wooden floor, let's say in a CrossFit box, they're pretty awesome as well. All in all, I think that wraps up the main construction features of the Position USA shoe. Double stitching throughout is very durable, and the wooden heel itself, I think, is gonna be plenty fine for keeping you stable, but also preventing any form of early breakdown. That wraps up my review of the Position USA R1 Midnight weightlifting shoes. Across the board, I thought these shoes performed pretty well, and I gotta say, I am a huge fan of the 0.5 inch wooden heel.